Welcome back to Return on Reputation. I'm Justin Obey, and today's episode starts in a church of more than 1,000 people. I know, not your average episode, but bear with me. He's in the same room, same morning, every single week, and the guy up front in the church is 34 years old at the time. He's the lead pastor. Fast forward 6 years later, and that same guy, he's doing a similar job. He takes a hard idea and he makes a room remember it. And except now that room, it's not a church, it's LinkedIn. And instead of his congregation, it's made up of leaders and founders on LinkedIn. So the same skill, but a different distribution method and a different ICP. And what's impressive is that he's gone from 0 to about 30,000 followers in 1 year. And he did it almost all of it with photos. And that's the part I have a slight problem with. I've spent years telling founders that video is, in my opinion, the biggest lever they have. And I have built an agency on it. Vince has built an audience without video. So maybe one of us is wrong. Vince Pierri, welcome to Return on Reputation. Let's get into it. First Claude design I ever made, I was like, ooh, that's cool. Like that looks nice. It's very nice. And then you start to realize that everyone's doing it and all Claude designs look the same. Get this, I was messing around with Lovable. Have you played with Lovable?
Like one time.
Okay, so I jumped on it as like a freemium like version when you start up. And I'm like, I don't know how to prompt this well. So I'm asking Claude to help me prompt this website design. I'm like, oh, that looks sweet. The end of the week, I'm talking to someone, they say, hey, I just built a website. And I'm like, oh, how'd you build these? Like, I use Lovable. I'm like, no way. So we screen share. He screen shares the new website. And I'm like, my jaw drops. Yeah. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, check this out. And I show him my new one and they look exactly the same. Like there's no visual design. It's terrible. And so that's why, yours pop, your infographics.
Man.
I don't know how you do it, but they visually pop. There's like, I love the ones that there's like a motion happening, kind of draws your eye in and it moves it around so that you kind of digest the information at the correct kind of path that you should be digesting it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I love it. So let's just jump into it.
Let's freaking do it.
Yeah. I wanted to start because I thought this was very interesting. Before any of this, you were preaching every week. You were a pastor to remove. How many people were in there? Like hundreds, thousands?
Not thousands, hundreds.
Okay.
We'd have maybe 500 adults on a Sunday, 2 services, so maybe 250 to 300 each. Obviously, big holidays, you pack it out and there's 500 people in there. But this is pastor math already. We're 2 seconds in. And I'm like, yeah, but on the big holidays, there was more. Yeah, but 200, 250, whatever.
My first curiosity piece is like, is there practice and rehearsal for that? Because I imagine like, how does one do that? And how did that help you as a communicator?
Yeah, man. So the pastor job, the big church pastor job is one of the weirdest jobs because you're running a 7-figure organization. I had 10 staff. I have a board. The board is all volunteers who have never worked as pastors. That's typical for most churches. So it's the most complicated board to work with. There's volunteer dudes from the church. So you're running this organization, marketing, HR, hiring, firing, all that. And then on top of that, you have to give a 45-minute keynote every single week, right? And in a big church, like in a little church, you can kind of suck at communicating and people show up because they feel like they know you personally.
Yeah.
Like Vince is not a great preacher, but he's our bud and there's 30 people in the room. Once you cross 400 or 500, people only show up if they're getting something out of that message every week, because why would they otherwise? You know what I mean? So it's, in my opinion, it's the most demanding communication job because you have to do that message to keep everybody there and you can't recycle anything. So there are a lot of motivational speakers who are
They do the same
speaking
keynote.
40 times a year, but it's the same talk every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
For pastors, it's got to be a different talk every time. You can't recycle the same jokes, the same whatever. So for me, I had to get really good and really fast at creating the content. That's the hard part, is not the delivery. It's getting a unique talk written every week. So I built, and every pastor generally does this, you build some frameworks for how to structure information in a way that keeps people really engaged. And you learn you got to put certain ingredients there, like kind of like where analogies happen, where stories happen, where practical advice happens. And if you start to use the same template every week, the amazing thing happens is that you actually automatically sort of memorize the talk. It's like, are you a musician?
Got it.
Do you play any music? You play an instrument?
Do I? No.
Okay.
No,
All
not
good.
anymore.
It's like a pop.
Growing up, I did. I played the saxophone growing up.
Great. So like in pop music, it goes verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, right? Every song, every pop song is the same structure. So when you start communicating with the same structure, you know, okay, I got my verse, then I got my chorus, not those words. But anyway, so yeah, by the end, it was like maybe 8 hours of content creation in this really rigid structure, and then no delivery prep.
Very cool.
Sunday morning, you get on stage and you just let it rip.
No prep. You didn't rehearse it or anything.
I would rehearse it usually once on Sunday morning before the first service, and then service one, just go.
Well, I mean, it's similar to a lot of like how great communication happens today, you know, just from video or infographics or whatever it is. Was there a point where you messed up? Like maybe the first sermon ever?
Dude, I messed up all the time.
How do you learn this craft? It's what I'm like, just trial and repetition.
The first few sermons I did, I wrote a full manuscript, full manuscript, practiced off the manuscript, tried to get my eyes off of the manuscript in my practice as much as I could, and then went up on stage with the manuscript, and I'm like referring back to it some of the time. That is what everybody does at the beginning. Sometimes you have to do that, but it is a horrible way to communicate because your mind is constantly going, how do I connect with people? And what am I supposed to say next?
Yeah.
So once I started using the same structure every time, and I just knew there's going to be an idea, there's going to be a part of the Bible, there's going to be an analogy, there's going to be a practical takeaway. Every single point, those 4 things, it was very hard to forget what was coming each time because it just felt intuitive. So I didn't like mess up very often in terms of like, what am I supposed to say next? But I mean, you have word flubs and you say things you regret and you piss people off. I accidentally swore a few times. That's not great for business, right? Yeah, I messed up in countless ways. And I think some of the sermons, there might have been times where I was like, I don't remember what I was going to say next. Let's just go to the next point. But the thing is, nobody cares. People think people care about that. Nobody actually cares about that because they don't know what you're planning on saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's more in your head than anything.
Totally.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Man, it's to me, it's like it's immediately like it's so relatable to social media today. Like in the world where everyone's like podcasts, infographics, LinkedIn, pick your medium, right? It's still all about basic communication.
Yes.
Getting your ideas across.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
I mean, it's almost uncanny in how similar it is if like just basic social media, right? Like there has to be a hook. There has to be a tension point. There's, then there's a payoff. And it's like the CTA at the end.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Like humans, from what I can tell, have ways they prefer to receive information that are almost universal. Maybe they are universal and they've, written content, a podcast, a book, a talk, an infographic. It's like all the same principles applied to different things.
Yeah. What was there any one lesson you looking back to that time in your life that you learned that you've never once seen a founder do on stage? Like things that that would help other people listening to the show right now? Besides the framework concept, that was very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that's by far the biggest ones. If
Yeah.
founders could get up on stage to deliver a keynote with like 10 bullets, talk about those 10 bullets on stage the
Mhm.
exact same way they do off stage, people
Mhm.
would go, Justin's the greatest communicator I've ever heard in my life. He's the best CEO communicator I've ever heard in my life. Because 97, 99% of CEOs get on stage with the teleprompter going or with this detailed manuscript or just reading off of slides. And it's so unbelievably boring because they have never just tried trusting themselves to talk on stage off of a logical flow, not a like word for word flow. So that's the biggest one.
That's great.
Yeah, the other one from that time, I'm trying to think if there'd be like a few other really, really main ones. I mean, this is kind of built into the framework, but just having different ingredients is part of it.
Mhm. Can I ask
More
a
detail
random
would be
question?
boring. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So are you still pastoring? You
Not
still
at
doing
the
that?
moment. The plan
Okay.
is to go back at some point.
Okay. Okay, cool. So you then pivot, right? You left so you've now left and you're focusing on building infographics for people, coaching them through that, how to stand out on LinkedIn. Am I right?
Yeah.
So why, okay, my two part here is why infographics? Why not like public speaking or like for executives or social media, video with the way the video has gone? Like, what is it about infographics and why did you choose to pivot and learn how to design things? Because
So
you just recently posted about this on LinkedIn that like you would spend hours at night learning how to design.
maybe because I'm an idiot, I like, so I started my LinkedIn selling public speaking coaching. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
No.
that was my first
Okay.
offer.
Okay. So
Super,
that makes sense.
such an easy transition, right?
Yeah. Well, what
So,
happened?
I started doing video. So my
Okay.
offer was I help SaaS executives nail their first conference talk. That was my headline.
It's
Very
great.
narrow, very clear. So
Yeah.
I started posting video. Here's how you should do this and this and this. And it like didn't get a ton of traction. And
Okay.
then I did more conceptual, like I started doing conceptual infographics on like how to think about communication, how to write your talk, how to structure your talk, how to structure a story. And that stuff started going nuts. The design was not great. I was just getting started, but it was like everything I touched was turning to gold. Every post went viral. And I was like, what is going on? What I realized
Wow.
in retrospect is that most public speaking coaches think exactly that way. I should communicate to sort of prove my expertise. But when it came to SaaS people, they're more heady, they're more intellectual. So when I
Mm.
would like give them a concept, help them think better about communication, there just weren't speaking coaches doing that, especially when it came to like conference talks. Lots of people were like, here's 10 communication tips and whatever. But when it came to like, here's exactly how to nail a talk in front of a big crowd, there was just this hole in people posting like educational, like usable content. So then it just started working. And I was just like, well, I guess I'll just keep doing this.
Okay.
That was all while I was still pastor.
Okay. Okay. So do you still coach people for speaking?
Similar to what we were talking about before we hit record, I do, but I don't talk about this. If people who remember me
Yeah.
know that
It's
I
like the
offer,
old offer. Yeah.
it's a cold offer. I will do it if people ask, but I don't promote it.
Okay. So the infographics take off and you make a switch. You're like, like, I'm going to be the infographics guy.
Yeah, so I
Like,
knew I was going to step out of leadership of the church I was leading,
yeah.
and the speaking business was already making more money than my pastor's salary, but that's not very hard to do. the pastor's salary is not great. But I was like,
Okay.
I'd love if I could just bump it up a little more before I just lose this pastor salary altogether. So
Hmm.
I just threw out one offer. Hey, do you want to come learn how to make infographics? A lot of you guys ask about this. I'll teach you. And it was like
Awesome.
$500. And I just like did a post about it. And I think I sold like 100 seats in like 2 months or something.
At $500.
So it was like just
That's great.
insane. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just keep doing this. And
That was the moment.
it was not premeditated. It was just kind of following the money, so to speak. Like there was
Sure.
just so much demand for people wanting to figure out how to do this. So I started teaching the class, and then I started taking on one-on-one clients, and then it was just like so obvious that
Okay.
was more marketable and easier to generate more
Interesting.
revenue. So
Do you think that's because at the time, I feel like everyone for, I don't know, 4 years during 2020 to call it 2024, and I'm just anecdotally thinking about this, is everyone's on Canva making the same crap templates, and it's like, it's clear as day. Similar to what we were talking about pre-recording, how like Claude design, they all look the same. Like, oh yeah, you're using Canva too.
yeah.
Like, is it like, what do you think drove the demand for these infographics and like learning that art?
Yeah. Well, pre-Claude, some people would use Canva templates, but I think it was still a much smaller percentage of the feed was any kind of infographic,
Okay.
which was part of why they really stood out. So
Mhm.
there was a season probably 8 to 10 months ago, like when I made the switch where it really was like a supply and demand thing. Like there just was not a good way to get them outside of a Canva. So my class, like sales have just slowed way down. And people will tell me, they'll be like, I'm just going to use Claude. I'm just going to like,
Yeah.
so if you're not a designer and you're like super dialed into like what you notice and what I notice, if that person can't tell the difference, they're never going to like pay more money for something they can't tell the difference.
Right. They don't understand it's actually hurting them.
Yes,
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what your original question was. What drove the demand? Yeah, the drove the demand. I think it was
Yeah.
supply and demand. There just wasn't. And now what drives the demand, which is definitely lower now. The business is still doing great, but it's not like explode. Like it was literally like just exploding. But now it is more people who can tell the difference between the AI and the not AI, and they're like, I
Yeah.
want the not AI. Those people are now pretty much exclusively the people I work with. They're like, I see them,
Makes
I
sense.
see the AI ones, I don't like them. Can you help me make them look real?
Right. Well, it's interesting because it's like when this all came out, everyone's like, oh my God, designers, like Claude killed designers, or like, I hate these like clickbaity things, like these hooks that people use on social.
Yeah.
Claude killed whatever, right? Gemini came out, with obviously Nano Banana. It was like, wow, this is going to be massive. And what I think now, at first I was like, okay, cool. Like maybe this replaces graphic designers. I don't think that's true at all. I think what's happening is now graphic designers are going to be more needed than ever before. Or just more needed. I think you maybe get to a point of like maybe you're brainstorming better. You can come up with some different designs, but I don't even know if that's true. Because almost if you look at Claude, your first design is like, oh, that's cool. But
Yes.
then everything looks like Claude, and it's just like it doesn't stand out. It doesn't represent your brand at all.
Yes. Yeah, there are a few things I think designers will always be needed for. Like on some level, Claude, if you don't prompt it super specifically, is going to sort of take the aggregate synthesis of visuals, which is by definition going to look a little generic. If you
Right.
give it a specific visual to copy, then it's copied off that specific visual, right? So either way, you're not really going to come up with something that feels like IP. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's where designers are needed. The other piece is that Claude is unbelievably good at making infographics about Claude, right? So the
Mm.
biggest infographics that are AI generated that are performing well are about how to use AI, because they're like, AI is like, I know what to put in that infographic, right?
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
if you're a career coach, or if you are in personal branding, or if you're selling a podcast and you're like, Claude, make me an infographic on how to build a podcast for CEOs, it's not going to know what to put in it, how dense of information to put in it, like what is actually going to be valuable to your audience. So like most of what I actually do with clients is help them think through, what should you make infographics about? It's actually much more content strategy. I need to get clear on this positioning, as people don't really get that. It was so easy to just hook on like, I'll make you cool animated infographics. And we were like, great. But by the time we're on the calls, they're like, what do I post about? And then we spend a good chunk of time being like, what
Yeah.
are the ideas? What will your ICP resonate? What will your peers resonate with? So it's much more content strategy than design. And that part, Claude will be even more behind on,
Yeah, for sure.
for other industries.
I mean, it's the same for what we do for podcast, right? For clients, like you can just jump on a podcast and do it for a few, but it's not going to be lasting
Yeah.
without content strategy there, right? So it's
Yes,
everything we
exactly.
do. And it's the same for social. So many of our clients, when we got into social, they were like, it's not working. What's wrong?
Yeah.
It was because like the foundation wasn't built. So it's
Yeah.
like, who are you serving?
Yeah.
I heard this one thing recently. I thought this was cool, that instead of social media, this guy whoever was talking, he was like, I've reconsidered it to be service media. And this like reframe, I'm like,
I
you're
used to serve
trying to
people.
help certain people, your ICP, your target audience,
Yeah.
with, to fix a problem, just
Yeah.
ungated. This is what we're doing. I'm helping people.
I love it. I love it. So good.
And I love what you're doing. It's like the content strategy has to be there first.
Mhm.
And then if you do that right, not only will it work better, but you can run faster.
Yes. Yep. Totally.
You know what you're going to write about. You have, these are the content pillars that we're going to hammer, and we're going to see for the next 2 months, does it work?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So good.
Okay. So here's this argument I'm going to carefully have with you here.
I'm ready.
Video versus like stills, right? Infographics, I'd put that is probably the top. But you have, because that's my entire business, is we put people on video, right? In an authentic, comfortable way.
Yeah.
Through a podcast.
Just
I
corporate
think,
crimes. You mean?
well, I think that video is the biggest lever they have. That's in my opinion. If they can do it well and speak authentically and speak to who they are and communicate that well, I think video crushes.
I love
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah.
Should I give some thoughts first, or do you want to present?
Please. Yeah. Let's jump in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You go first.
So here's how I think about this.
Okay.
First, you have to figure out, what is your top of funnel. So some people, when they post video, it goes crazy, right? Like, do you know Heike Young?
No.
I don't know if you know her. She was super hype at Salesforce. Now she's solo at Microsoft.
Okay.
She was doing content, like employee generated content, like the content strategy for the employees at like Salesforce and Microsoft, I believe.
Okay.
But anyways, she helps execs create video and trains teams on this and that sort of thing. And when she posts a video, like I think 2025, she got 70 million impressions.
Wow.
So a lot of impressions.
Okay. It's a lot.
I would never tell her infographics are your new top of funnel.
Okay.
And because she's got top of funnel down. Also, I've seen a lot of execs that are posting video that will creep up to 300 impressions each, 400 impressions each. Then they do an infographic, and the infographic gets 20,000 impressions.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of like, you got to figure out what these formats are best for based on your gifting and your expertise. So for people that are popping off on video, I'm like, I would recommend using infographics for middle and bottom of funnel because it shows your expertise, your authority. It helps people see you know what you're doing and you're not just a talking head.
Yep.
Great. If you're popping off with infographics, because this was my story, I could go viral on infographics. I could never get a viral video going, but I still posted video because it helps me close. Because people would go, oh, he's actually not just a GIF, you know? He's actually like, he's a real
Yeah,
person.
right.
So I kind of am
Makes
like,
sense.
see what works for growth, and
Interesting.
then tilt it either way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
No, I like that. I think, well, I made a post the other day saying, arguing that the funnel is even dead, just like the funnel as we know it, which is usually like, I hear about it, I gain interest, I go to your website, I click a form to get some form, and then I get an email and I buy, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people do it. I don't think it's simple as that, but I still believe in top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel content in creating. So like,
Yes.
some other people have called it the accordion method, where you're like big, broad topic that you know your audience is, and then you squeeze it down to something that's like, hey, this is a day in the life of working with me or something, and that's like your bottom of funnel content. I think it's also platform specific too. You know, like
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
so right now, if you're creating like for LinkedIn specifically, because I think a lot of our audience is listening is on LinkedIn trying to, I mean, you're at 34,500 followers on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
mainly through infographics.
Yep. Like 90%. Yep.
Right. So that's obviously done very well for you. Everything you post in infographic, have you played with just like selfies or carousel posts as well?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So like I'm not convinced. So like, I think video, what it does very well is builds trust.
100%. Yes.
I'm not convinced that it's the only way at all. Like I think you need a mix if you're going to do it really well. I think there's an important mix there. I'm not sure if it's, 50% infographic or 90% infographic. I think there's a mix of carousel posts if it makes sense. Like Instagram is crushing, carousel posts are crushing on Instagram.
Yeah.
For some
Yes.
reason right now, the algorithm
Yes.
has shifted that way, but, and then like, so there's a lot of pieces like video, specifically like these Yap videos, right? Just on unscripted, I jump on the camera and talk.
Mhm.
That's doing well now. That's having its
Mhm.
moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
But so to me, I don't know. I think the arguments there, I think, both make sense.
Yeah.
I think it's also like who you are as a person, right? Like if you're really boring and not charismatic, or like you can't speak well, maybe video is not the best.
Do some infographics.
Yeah, do infographics. Yeah. And that's
Yes.
honestly why, like, we used to do, I told you this earlier, like we would show up at your office and we'd put you in front of a camera, and even the best speakers would just freeze up because it's a
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
experience. It's not natural to speak into a camera.
Totally.
And that's why we like podcast. Like I like podcasts a lot because it's just you and I having a conversation.
So
And
much
there's
easier.
so
Yeah.
much easier, and there's gold there.
I got very comfortable on stage years before I got comfortable on camera, and I still am less comfortable on camera than I am, with talking to a real person or real ring.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
really depends on personality. And I think it also depends on like saturation level.
What does that mean?
So like if you are in B2B marketing, like
Yep.
there's 10,000 infographics about B2B marketing on LinkedIn. So like to cut through with video faster, depending on like how saturated the niche is, where other ones, it might really cut through if no one's put together frameworks for that. Like I had one client who was sold a consulting service to airlines where he would help them extend their loyalty program after they got off the plane. It's like so niche, so weird. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work at all. But he made this thing and it was like an infographic and it was like 4 layers of like airline loyalty. And it was circles, like concentric circles, like for airlines. And I was like, what the heck? And it literally went viral with airline people. Then he put a little paid spend behind it, went even more viral. And he said they got 35 leads from one infographic. He was like, it's been our biggest source of pipeline this entire year. Was from one infographic. But like, who is making infographics about loyalty programs for airlines? Just him, right?
Right. He's like, standing out in the space.
It's like it might as well be 2020 for him when it comes to educational content on that topic.
Okay, so you I think where we land here is it depends on the person that we're talking to if they're good at video or not. But do you think it's also like do you think it's easier to create an infographic than do a short form video for most people?
Like if they have to learn design skills, then no, for sure no.
Yeah, okay.
But like it's like if I have a CEO and I said, okay, we can shoot a video or I can make you an infographic, most of them are going to feel like it's easier for me to make them an infographic than for them to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like less of a nerve-wracking lift for a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, I really like the entire funnel piece. And I think depending on who you are and who you're serving, the niche you're serving, I think you're right. You know, each is going to play a different role in the funnel.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yep.
You already mentioned like GIFs. So are you GIFs versus still like JPEG or PNG?
This is another one that I'm like, it just changes so fast.
Yeah.
I think we're probably on the back end of the animation wave. I actually just changed my headline text on LinkedIn yesterday from animated infographics to custom infographics. I pulled out animated because I'm like, I think this is going out now. But I still animate. Like every client will generally do an animated and a still version of every graphic just so they can pick which one they like.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I think it still works depending on the graphic, and some are like built for animation. So yeah.
Well, it reminds me, I mean, when we first got into this game, photography was like stills. That's what we did. And all of a sudden everything shifted because of TikTok. All the other algorithms promoted, 9:16 vertical.
Yeah.
And I posted early. I was like, and it was just a motion graphic, like a series of photos that went, simply because I'm like, hey, we're going to animate video now.
Yeah.
So, like GIFs work. Do you think it'll probably always switch back and forth?
I think we'll totally always switch back and forth. It's funny. It's like infographics are probably going to suffer a little bit from all the AI ones that people are just more likely to skip them in general because they're seeing them more. So then at some point people will switch to something else and then they'll start and then infographics will start working again because fewer people are doing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Carousels are like so out right now. And I think in 6 months, they're going to be back.
They're out now.
Carousels, from what I'm seeing on LinkedIn, they're really big on LinkedIn. They're really big on Instagram. I think they're, because LinkedIn also changed. They used to give you this much space for the carousel.
Yes.
And it would be one slide and then a little bit of the second. Then they shrunk it to this big.
Right.
3 little slides. So that like totally makes it even harder to do a carousel.
Keep attention. Yeah.
But still, as soon as the format gets used less, someone will find a way to make it cool, and then it'll start exploding again. You know what I mean? That's my guess. That's my guess.
I how do you think AI, I mean, I think AI plays a role in this. I think that's why you're seeing Yap videos, right? So like for me, it's like less produced stuff. People want to see just like you authentic, being real. Like what does Vince think right now? Just like on the fly. It's not scripted. We know it's not scripted. It's not produced.
Yeah.
Do you think the same with your infographics, the way you make it? We were talking about it. Is it because everyone complains about AI slop and all this stuff. Do you think that's also part of what you're providing people?
Not slop.
Non-slop. Like, is that like, if they're trying to do it themselves, I guess they're listening.
Yeah.
What are the things they're putting into this? Like, because I think we just established infographics are a huge piece to winning on LinkedIn.
I think so. I think they're still huge.
I think you won that. I think I'll argue that both still need to play there, but
I think you need both. I don't think I won that argument at all. I really think you need both. And I think if you're building an audience through video, I would not say try to build an audience through infographics. I'd just say mix them in. Or like Magali DeRue, have you seen her?
No.
She's the #1 personal branding person on LinkedIn, rated like according to Favicon or whatever it's called, or at least she was. She might have, it goes up and down. She was #1 in the world for a while, and she can build her audience with just pictures of herself and a story. That is her most viral format. She still makes infographics, and the sort of bet is that they help build authority and expertise more than that, or yes.
What is her last name?
DeRue. It's 2 words. DeRue or REU. Where is it? REU.
REU. All right, I'll find her.
Yeah,
put her in the show notes.
Yeah, put her in the show notes. She's a real rising star right now. She's exploding.
Okay, she is doing infographics as well to build authority.
Yeah, she's like 6 out of 7 posts are going to be a selfie or a funny meme or something. Yeah, and then 1 out of the 7 is going to be an infographic to build that trust.
Okay. Okay. Crazy. Do you think being a woman, I'm going to get scorched for this, on LinkedIn, I see a lot of women post selfies nonstop.
I did an infographic about this very topic. Did you see it?
I think so. I think you were like, if you're hot, is that the one you're talking about?
Man or woman, if you're hot, your top of funnel is selfies.
Okay, so if you're an attractive man or woman,
well, that's your top of funnel. That's your top of funnel. Like, I did the post. Like, it was kind of.
I'm gonna link this post. We'll link this post too.
Yeah, I linked to it. It like what it was supposed to be funny, but it was also supposed to be 100% true, because I do think it is true. It's like, you play the hand you're dealt, right? So if you post selfies and they go viral because you're attractive, like, I'm like, don't fight it. Why would you fight that? Why would you fight that? Like, I'm not saying like post like not safe for work pictures if you're a woman. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, if there's something about the way you look, and sometimes it's not even physically attractive, they just have a really cool style, or like they've got purple hair, or whatever. I'm like, yep. If your mug, people want to look at it, put it up there. And then I think that can be your top of funnel. Same way infographics or video, it's like selfies can be your top of funnel if you look a certain way. But if they're not going viral, don't never post a picture of yourself, because people still want to know, like, what's this person look like, Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, that's very funny.
I will, we'll link to that.
Yeah, link that. That posted very well also. Yeah.
Walk me through. So you track save rate, I think. Yeah. So 3% or better and the content's working. Below that, it isn't, no matter how it looks.
Generally,
Where does that come from? If that's right.
that's just from looking at my own posts mostly
Okay.
and my clients. I don't have like a dashboard connected to a million accounts. But when I look at my posts and my clients' posts, generally above 3% is a really, really strong signal. LinkedIn will keep pushing it. Below 3% is another tier, and then like below 1% is like another tier.
Okay. Okay.
3% with very few comments versus 3% with steady comments is another big difference. It's kind of like they, from what I can see, the algorithm pushes the posts most that are winning on all metrics. So if it saves and comments and reposts and dwell time, like, why would we not push this? Like, they're trying to make money, right? So they make more money if more people are more deeply engaged in the content. Yeah. So my brother Anthony was like, one way you should think about content strategy is, how can I make LinkedIn more money? Because if you're making them more money,
They're gonna push you.
they're gonna push you.
Yeah. Why a save over a like? What is the save telling you?
I mean, likes matter also, but
Yeah.
likes are easier. Well, no, I mean, it's not even really that. It's just saves mean they, the one thing that will never go out of style, carousels, infographics, video, whatever. The one thing that will never go out of style is giving people information they're looking for.
Yeah.
The formats will change and go in and out of vogue.
Totally. 100%. Yeah.
And you could say AI means now that that's not true anymore, but I don't really think that's true, because there still is a desire to hear very, very narrow information from a real person, from a subject matter expert, that's not the accumulation from the broader sphere, right? Not just a synthesis of the internet, but what does this one person think about this thing? So when you make that the goal, giving people information that they need or they are looking for, then saves are your biggest green light that you've given them something they're looking for, because they're saving it to come back to it later. So like, I had one client just a few weeks ago, and he's a public speaking coach, and he made a post that was how to structure a 90-minute workshop. It's like, everyone's giving 90-minute workshops, and you're like, how should I structure it? Now you could ask AI, but there's something about, okay, this is from a public speaking coach, and it's giving me exactly what to put in a 90-minute workshop down to the minute, like time down to the minute. And it was not my strongest design, honestly, but I knew it was going to go viral. And within the first hour, the likes were very low, impressions were very low, but it was getting like a 6% save rate or 5% save rate.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, let it go. It's going to fly. And it just, like 2 hours later, it exploded, because the save rate was so high.
Do you ever delete posts that don't perform?
Yeah, I do. If the ratio's really bad, like if it's at 2,000 impressions and like 8 likes, and like people are looking at this and not liking it, so maybe.
But like, after what time? Because I think the algorithm on LinkedIn seems to have shifted, where it's like it gives you more time to see the initial performance.
Yeah, the one thing that I do trust within the first hour, though, usually is the ratio.
Okay.
Because
what does that mean? Tell us
like
about
the
that.
ratio of whatever engagement metric you're tracking versus the impressions.
Versus impressions. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So like that one post I was talking about, I think hour one, it had like 1,000 impressions, which was not great for the goal of this really flying, but it was like, 60 saves or 55 saves on 1,000 impressions. So impressions were low, but the ratio was strong. And yeah, so even an hour in, if you only have 500 impressions, it's like, well, okay, so 500 people saw this for at least a second. How many of them liked it? How many of them commented? How many of them saved?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's like, no matter how much you complain about the algo, the one thing you can work on is your rates. The rate of comments, saves, likes versus impressions. Like, if you're like, I can't up my impressions, I'm like, forget about upping your impressions. Just up your rates of people because people are seeing it and nobody's liking it. So like, let's start there as opposed to like, how do we get more impressions? It's like, it's like so dumb when people say this and it's very rude, but it is kind of true that like most of the time it's a quality problem. Like most of the time it's just not competitive enough. It is just not good enough or interesting enough or valuable enough to get pushed.
So and you just said it, like you knew that post was going to go viral. But and then I'm going to combine that with what we said. It's not like I think 20% of every post is a design, and you're really helping people figure out what to post.
Yeah.
So many people I hear, it's like, I don't know what to post. So that makes total sense to me. Can you jump into like how you like kind of mind map that for folks?
Yeah, 100%. Have you seen my mind map? I did a video on how to do a mind map. Did you see it?
No, I didn't know.
All good. Should I share my screen?
If it helps, yeah, we can do that.
We can do it. Let's do it.
You can also like in post, I can put this video in. How long is the video?
Through 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's throw it up.
Or I could also do, we can do the first 90 seconds of your mind map and you'll see it in real life. Do you want to do that?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay, great. Let me pull up a
Wow,
Notion.
never done this before on the show.
Yeah, here we go, man. Let's build your mind. In 1 second, let me get it already in Notion. How do you say your last name?
Oh man, my life would be so much easier if it was Obey. It's Obey.
Obey.
Which is, yeah.
I like it.
So in college, I knew you were a friend of mine if you called me Obey.
Oh,
that's
there
like,
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how you mind map. So I want you to imagine one real person. Give me a real person, the real person's name, who would love to start a podcast.
Anybody?
Real human. You can just give me first name if it's awkward to say both.
My wife, she wants to start a podcast. Let's
love
do
it.
That.
What's her name?
April.
So April comes to you. She's like big.
Yeah.
Does she know about like how to do it? Who's somebody who doesn't know? Does she already know or does she not know?
She knows.
Who's
Okay.
somebody
If
really
someone doesn't know how to do it, I don't know. I don't know. Other people.
Could be a
like
past
CEOs.
client. It could be like an early client you did one for.
All the clients that we work with, we do it for them.
But they
that's
wanted
where-
to do a podcast. They didn't know how. Who's someone that fits that?
They want to have a podcast but didn't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know. Vince,
Who's your last
one, man?
podcast client, if you can say alive? Like who are you currently doing a podcast for?
Oh, a lot of people. We just launched a great one, Code and Cobblestones. I'll
Cool.
shout that out.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that CEO's name?
Yeah, Matt Crane.
Matt Crane.
and Will
Perfect.
Lehman.
Don't you imagine this Matt Crane? You're face to face over coffee or over a beer.
Okay.
And he's like, dude, can you just teach me how to do it? Break it down step by step, high level, 30,000 foot. What are the main things? If I was going to do this myself and you were not going to do it for me, what do I need to do? What would be step 1, 2, 3, 4? Talk to me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so step 1 is, who are you serving? Who is the target audience?
Great. 2?
What do they care about? What are their pain points? How do you help them? Why do you need to exist in the world? All right. So if this is a question we ask a lot of our clients, like if you didn't exist in the world, what would that happen? What would happen to your clients?
Who are they serving? Is that all one bucket sort of?
Yeah, I'd say it's like one big brand strategy piece to the show.
This is all step 1, right? Brand strategy.
So yes, brand strategy is step 1.
Great.
And that dictates the show title. So the step 2, show title, and then graphics for the show, along with developing the narration arc of the show. So like, where do we want to take the show? Where do we want to take listeners?
Let's go on that one for a minute. He says,
Yeah.
Okay, this makes total sense. Brand strategy, show title, got to get the graphics. Okay, narrative arc of the show. Teach me how to create a narrative arc of the show. How does that work? What are the steps or the pieces, the ingredients? Break down narrative arc of a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's telling a great story. So it's introducing. So every episode needs to have a certain framework, very similar to what you were just talking about earlier at the top of the show for writing a great speech, so we develop that rhythm with and this is personalized to our client. So, but usually some people enjoy doing a news heavy thing. So there's always like funny banter. We kick it off, and that will either go into like a couple quick hits, news hits, if it's a news show. Otherwise, it's like straight to the point. And we usually start with like a strong, either a hook, right? So it's a pain point. It's something that grabs the audience right in. Kind of like, why should I listen? What'd you say?
After the quick hits?
Quick hits are that's only if it's a news show. Some of our clients really, they want to be at the cutting edge of their industry. So we'll add quick hits, like news hits.
Otherwise, is it fun hits and then pain point?
There's some banter, it's funny, and then there's a big pain point, and that's where the landing. And then it's like, hey, this is the hook for the show. This is why I need to listen.
The what?
And in tension, we're creating tension on the show. And then there's the payoff, like how to do this thing.
Do you have this stuff like pretty much timed down to the minute? Like this is 1 minute?
No. I mean, just generally, yes.
Generally, it's like 1 to 2 minutes.
But we keep that flexible because we're looking for authenticity.
Yep.
And so I think what makes great conversation like this, like we didn't plan for this is unexpected, what you're doing right now.
Do you have particular hook frameworks, multiple hook frameworks for the podcast, or is it just sort of one framework you apply different ways?
We have multiple ones differently for different clients.
What are these repeatable? Like you use them across the board?
Mm-hmm.
Hit me with like some label you would understand. Doesn't have to be understanding the audience, but like what are some of those labels?
For a hook, there's usually the hooks are, I would just generally speaking, for across all of them, right? It's like, this is something big, important happening that you need to know right now. And if you don't know it and you don't care about this, it's going to hurt you, right? So like we intentionally, for this, what we just did today, right? We started with your interesting story about being a pastor. Because that's very different. It's a very cool experience, but then it intentionally leads into how you communicate, which is really what you're selling to people.
Yep.
That's why I led with that. And it's like that interesting hook. And then how do we do that?
Makes sense. How do you set up? So what we just did is mind mapping.
Cool.
So we had basically the highest level thing is how to start a podcast for CEOs, right? Layer 1 is brand strategy, show title, graphics, narrative arc of a podcast. That could be an infographic. It would be a more high level one. Might not perform as well because it's a little more general. But if we get on to layer 2, okay, now we've got an episode framework. Okay, now this is more tactical and more interesting because it's how to do an episode. Now, if we go into here, we go another layer down. Now we have podcast hook framework. Yep. Now we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers down, and we're in the territory of something that feels less saturated, more practical, and more savable and shareable. Oftentimes we'll go 6, 7, 8 layers down, 9 layers down, a few different branches, and just find stuff that nobody's talking about because it's so micro and so tactical.
That's cool.
And so specific to you. So what I generally recommend is the deeper you go, the more practical it's going to be. By deeper, I mean further toggle clicks down. The more toggle clicks you can force your brain to go, no matter what the field, you're by definition getting more practical, and you are also getting probably less saturated.
So you're solving the I call them like tiny pain points. Like the splinters.
Yes. The tiny,
in this one piece of content, can I remove a splinter for you?
The tiny pain points, for whatever reason, often tend to go more viral.
Yeah, interesting.
Everybody making a podcast goes, oh, here's a way to hook at the beginning. If you had one framework like this, what I would recommend would be break down the framework and then give 10 to 15 examples from real podcasts. Here was the event. Here was the stakes of not knowing. Here was the setup for this podcast. Next podcast. Here was the event. Here was the stakes of not knowing. Here is how we set it up, so that they see the framework in action across multiple podcasts, and they go, I'm going to use that, right? I'm going to actually use that.
Right.
Yes.
So like, for example, like to further that, when we're setting up a show, we will do guest outreach strategy. Like, who are the guests that you're going to, like, bucketed framework for how they do that. You're saying an infographic, because it's I think that's further down.
Yeah.
That's going to do really well.
How to get people to actually say yes to coming on your podcast.
Yeah.
And it's the email script with highlights. Here's what we said in the email. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And as you might imagine, this is going to first attract other podcasters. That's part of the design. Because your CEOs are not like, I'm going to save this thing about podcasts. You reach your peer group. And if you reach your peer group, you end up reaching your ICP. That's sort of the main way of thinking about it. And some of your peers are also in-house people trying to get podcasts off the ground who will become customers.
Got it.
Make sense?
I think a lot of people are afraid of this stuff because they don't want to give away the farm. They're like, hey, if I share all this information, this is my secret sauce. This is our proprietary information. Why would I share that much?
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I would say if you're starting to feel that is probably the greatest green light signal that it's actually going to work.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not generic. It actually feels scary to share. Likely means it's not completely saturated. Because if there were like 30 posts every day on how to do podcast hooks, you'd be like, no one cares about this anymore. So if you have that fear, that means you're still early for content in the niche. The kind of person who's learning how to do this and is going to do it themselves in-house is usually fairly different than the kind of person who's going to shell out whatever amount of money they pay you for you to do it. So you serve a lot of people who will never pay you, which is just fun sometimes. But then also with such a heavy lift like what you're doing, you're not going to lose customers this way. You're going to gain way more. And I can't remember who said this, but like the fastest way to prove people you're an expert is to share your expertise, right?
Is to be the expert.
Be the expert. Yeah.
Well, I ask because I want people listening to understand this. I think because I agree with you wholeheartedly. Honestly, I used to be in the other camp where I'd be like, I don't want to share exactly how we do things. But then I realized that people are going to figure it out on their own anyway. So I can either help them now.
Yes.
Or they'll figure it out and they're not going to hire me. Right.
Yeah,
So like
either way.
Yeah, either way, they'll figure it out. So why not help them now and shortcut 10 chapters of what I already had to learn the hard way?
It's so fun.
But I also think,
go ahead.
well, just sorry to cut you, but
Wait,
like the other piece is like, you can read a book and why do you still hire the guy who wrote the book? It's the same.
Same thing.
Sorry, what were we going to say?
I
Sorry.
was going to say, it's so funny. I teach this class on how to do this. So part of the class is doing what we just did. And inevitably people say exactly what you say. And then I say this very meta, like kind of silly moment, but I'm like, guys, everything I'm teaching you and 10 times more than what I'm teaching you on this call, I already posted on LinkedIn. It's all there. And you guys, you paid to hear me teach you again.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So like, I'm not even going to go there. There's so many examples of this. Like Alex Hormozy, the same stuff on his YouTube. He teaches the same thing in his books, it's just a different medium of absorbing the content.
He posts all the videos of these like events that cost like 10 grand to go to. He just posts the videos of them.
Right.
And it just gets more people to want to go for whatever reason.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Okay, cool. There's another post that you made about a salary. like your salary, your every job, and every number, you've ever made on purpose. So like you posted the last 7 jobs and what each one paid $9 an hour, pushing cards, I think at Target, you said. Why put all that on the internet? Is it just transparency, trust building?
Yeah.
Or just
Well,
like it was a fun piece of your mind map? Or like, how does that work for you?
one of the things I have learned over the last 10 months, whatever, however long it's been,
Yeah.
is that infographics about public speaking was very not saturated, still very not saturated.
Okay.
Infographics about content strategy, very
Very.
saturated.
Yeah,
Very
very.
saturated. So it actually works worse for me than it ever has before.
Okay.
So, and that's so basically what I'm trying to move toward is I'm gonna adopt the same content strategy I would recommend for my clients and the same content strategy most of my clients are using. So I don't have any clients that are only posting infographics, right? They're all posting lots of different things and growing their audience through lots of different things. So that's what I'm trying now with my deal is I want to grow my audience through all the same channels, all the same formats that help you be more diversified. It's like what I would recommend. Now I'm just trying to do it myself. And so it's still a lot of infographics, but it is more, how do I grow this audience lots of different ways? So one of the ways,
Okay. Cool.
one of the ways to grow your audience is like vulnerable storytelling that people find
Totally.
interesting, right? So that was one. I had seen someone do a similar post and I just tweaked the format and put in my info and it did really well.
That's cool. Was there a version of that post that you were drafting earlier that just didn't make it?
Of the salary one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, I can't give this one out. Or is it
Oh,
just like,
like a
I'm just
too
gonna put it
vulnerable
out there?
one?
Yeah, yeah.
There's some things I don't talk about because there was some childhood stuff that I don't talk about because a lot of those people are still living, you know, that it just doesn't seem quite fair. And you can
Yeah.
fill in the blanks and make guesses on what that sort of stuff is. But everything else, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't share my exact, like a lot of big creators share exactly what they made that year. I may do that. I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Yeah. I've always felt weird about that one.
I know it does feel a little weird. I, I'm kind
People
of
seem to
for,
like it.
yeah, I mean, I like it when I read it and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel jealous when someone's like, here's what I made. I'm like, freaking go, man.
Yeah.
And I also know some of the sacrifices you have to make. Like I
Totally.
have a client who's making like 400 or 500 a year and she's working 60 or 70 hours a week on LinkedIn. And like, I work 45 hours a week on LinkedIn, you know? So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. We could probably have this go a couple hours, but let's jump into the rapid fire and we'll close out.
Great.
One word, quick things that's come to mind. The most overrated piece of personal brand advice out there.
Be consistent.
Okay.
If you're just consistently posting bad posts, it does
That's not help.
that's not fun. That's not
Okay.
I just gotta be consistent. I'm like, no, you need to get really good at what you're doing, even if it means posting less often.
Okay. Got it. Off of that, what's a post that took you like 20 minutes or 10 minutes to make versus one that took a couple days?
That both performed.
Yeah. Or which performed better of the two?
My most viral post was an infographic that took some time. It got, I think, 1.3 million impressions or something, which was amazing. Got like 7,000 followers in a week. That was a big moment.
That's huge.
Yeah, that was really huge. That was like a game-changing moment for the business. I didn't get any leads from that one post. Actually, no, I got like 15 leads. None of them bought, and they were all insane people who'd book a discovery call with someone they discovered existed 1 second before, but it launched like the audience in a big way.
Okay.
Like normal people do not book to a meeting with you the day they find you. They book a meeting with you 3 months later or 2 months later or whatever.
Right.
The most viral post I spent no time on was, this was recent actually. I was on the toilet, I know, TMI, scrolling like we all do. And it was a post from Kevin O'Leary. You know Kevin O'Leary?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And he posted, it was like 4 hours in and it had like 7 likes. And I just screenshotted it. I did 3 panels. One was his number of followers. The next panel was the number of hours since he posted. The next panel was the number of likes. It took 2 seconds to make, and then I just posted with the caption, "If you feel bad about your content flopping," and that was it. And
yeah.
Did you see that one?
I did see that one. Yes. Yeah, that was
like
a great one. That was great.
1,000 impressions or something. It was like such a funny.
Dude, it was great because people are afraid of that.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny and
Totally.
encouraging at the same time. I think that's part of why people just kept it going.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah, I did it again with Grant Cardone, and it went viral again. I'm trying it again tomorrow with a Notion ad. Notion has 1 million followers, and I got the screenshots. Notion, and then it's when they posted, and then it's the fact that it's a promoted post, and then it's 4 likes on the bottom. So Notion has 1 million followers and paid money for people to see this, and nobody liked it.
Oh my God. That's great. That's great. I like that you try a bunch of different things with your content. It's great.
Yeah, keep trying.
All right. Last question. If LinkedIn disappeared tomorrow, what would you do next?
I would cry, probably. I would actually cry. And like if the platform shut down,
yeah, gone.
I think I'd probably give myself a runway of 2 or 3 months on another platform.
Okay.
Instagram, probably go back to public speaking coaching because that was a more like provable expertise right out the gate. I'd probably do public speaking coaching on Instagram or TikTok. And then if that didn't work, then I go get a marketing job.
Okay, cool. All right. I do have one more question I like.
Yeah, go.
I try to ask everybody this. What does reputation mean to you today? Because the show is called Return on Reputation.
Yeah, man. I mean, this may be not the exact answer, but
it's no right answer.
Like there are a lot of people who are like, you don't need an audience. You just need to talk to, you can have 500 followers and build a thriving business. Some people can pull that off. And if you can pull it off, great. But to me, like there's no price tag you can put on having an audience because it's just,
it makes everything easier, right?
Makes everything easier. Give you options. Opportunities come to you weren't planning on. So yeah, if I was going to build a SaaS company now, I can have such an immediate advantage over me without an audience building a SaaS company. And I've never wanted to build a SaaS company and probably never will build a SaaS company. But, going to VCs and saying, I've got 30,000 followers on LinkedIn that are all, industry people. Like it just, if you can do it, it's just such a no-brainer.
For sure.
No-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. All right, man. Vince, thank you so much for being here. I will drop your LinkedIn in the show notes. So check that out if you're listening. And dude, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a great time.